On, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Golf on Tap. Jack Bushman here with Ross Baran as always. Quick reminder to everyone who's joining us right off the jump to go jump into the YouTube feed so you can interact with us throughout today's episode. Let us know who you're going to be rolling with for this week's Shriners Children's Open as the PGA Tour rolls into Las Vegas. Let us know your reaction to Matt McCarty breaking through for his first PGA Tour victory in just his second start. These kids sure are good, Ross. Before we get into that, though, buddy, and everything we want to dive into this week in Las Vegas, Ross, I know you got some new digs. Want to know how the moving has been going and how you're doing here on this Wednesday afternoon, my friend.
It's fucking miserable. It never ends. It took me 5 days to even get this whole desk set up. There's going to be pictures, my Michael Block hat and all that stuff like are eventually going to be mounted. It's a nice little office space. It's a wonderful house in a great neighborhood. We're so pumped for it. But Jesus Christ, do I never want to have to do this again.
Well, very happy for you, brother. Congratulations. Very excited to see how it's going to look when it's not white walls behind you. I know you got some great golf things to throw up on the wall back there. You referenced the blocky hat. Excited to see what you're going to be doing with the space that is going to be the new podcast studio for Mr. Ross Baran. But Ross, to pick up this conversation, Matt McCarty breaks through, as I referenced off top, his second PGA Tour start, wins the inaugural Black Desert Championship. I know you didn't get to watch much, and I'm sure a lot of golf fans weren't exactly glued to the television from start to finish. It wasn't the most intriguing of fields, and per usual, the PGA Tour didn't exactly do the best job of putting it out there to the fans. I believe the coverage started at 4 p.m. Central Time in over the weekend, so we got to see the final 8 or 9 holes of the leaders, even if you wanted to watch. But Ross, kind of give me your thoughts on Matt McCarty, someone who obviously you keep up with the Korn Ferry Tour and everything that's going on in the world of golf. He comes through and wins 3 times to earn his PGA Tour card, and just like that, in a blink of an eye, already has a trophy.
So we're just going to start this one off on a hot button issue. Matt McCarty earned this Battlefield promotion a while ago, but had to wait until now to get this opportunity. Expand. I think we need to rewrite the rule that if you're in the middle of the Korn Ferry Tour season, they set the Battlefield promotion, which is extremely rare to get. I mean, this is the first time that someone's earned a true Battlefield promotion since like 2016. I think you automatically are just in the next event.
You should.
I think as long as it's not the FedEx Cup playoffs, because obviously that is a little different. Just you're in, buddy. Next week, you're instead of going fucking Boise, Idaho, like we'll see you out in Connecticut or Massachusetts at the Travelers or whatever.
Yeah, I do wonder if it is such a rare case, and I don't think the PGA Tour is going to expect Battlefield promotions year after year, right? It's a tough feat for someone to go and do, even at that level. Kids are just getting better and better and better, and quite honestly, what I am taking from this, Ross, is just that these next generations, they are the future of golf, and the Korn Ferry Tour really doesn't seem that far removed from the PGA Tour nowadays. Like, it feels like the talent gap is as close as it's ever been, and it feels like an opportunity here for the PGA Tour to maybe not open up that Battlefield promotion, but just other ways to get these young guys who you feel like could be the next wave of stars. And that's what the PGA Tour is missing right now, Ross, is stars. And it feels like there could be a lot of them coming up. And yeah, to make Matt McCarty have to go and play the Korn Ferry Tour Championship in Boise, Idaho before getting that promotion, it's like, listen, dude, you can make this a huge story and put him on TV and brand this right now, and people are going to run with it.
I mean, the easiest comparison is think of like Major League Baseball or the NHL. When the top prospect gets called up, it is nothing but media for days and days and days that, oh, they're coming up. This is going to be their debut, whatever. with how successful your tour minor league tour is, when that guy goes and achieves what typically is difficult to achieve, hits that benchmark and wins 3 events in a calendar year, that dude needs to be on the fucking tour the next week. There's your automatic call up. Sorry, and this is not a shot because we do like this person, but like, sorry, Doug Gim, you're out of the field next week. Matt is in. Matt got your spot.
The pride of Buffalo Grove, Illinois, right down the block, calling out my boy Doug Gim.
And again, I'm just throwing like a random name, borderline name out there, but it is that type of situation that you need to make it exciting. That, oh yeah, this guy just sealed number 3. He's in the field next week. Whoever's number 150 on the list, the last entry, sorry, you're now the first alternate. McCarty's in.
And something about Matt McCarty, he feels like he's, I don't know, lefties. This is just my personal
that
opinion,
lefty swing is so fucking pure and
dude,
it looks just so amazing.
Watching lefties do anything, lefties just do everything cooler. And the tee shot that he hit onto the drivable par 4 to kind of go and clinch it there, the best shot of the entire week, sticks it to like 4 feet. He's hitting some unreal short game shots, chipping in for eagle. And I got to give him credit for having a lot of poise, because there was a moment on, I want to say it was Saturday, where he kind of hit it into the lava rocks in that area for the first time. And Ross, I know you didn't tune in much. If you hit it into the lava rocks this week, you were absolutely dead. And quite honestly,
I saw enough of that where I knew that was dead.
I do need to give a little bit of a hat tip to Black Desert Resort. I'll give them their flowers here in just a second. Back to McCarty, but there was a situation where he had to go and get a ruling. It was kind of a shaky lie. And he wound up taking the penalty drop to give his ball a better lie, and saves up and down to get a bogey. And just kind of the composure of that situation, he stayed very relaxed. He made the right decision by asking an official, asking him a question just to be sure of what he's going to do. He didn't freak out and panic anytime it did ever kind of feel like the tournament was up for grabs. And for him to stay composed throughout the rest of the way too. Like on Sunday, I mentioned to you, there weren't really a lot of challengers that gave him, anything to kind of be looking behind himself for. But at the same point in time, he just stayed on the straight and narrow the entire day. He didn't make a bogey until the tournament had basically been wrapped up, after he hit that incredible shot on the drivable 14th. And sometimes that's all you need to do to win. Sometimes you just need to not get in your own way, not make mistakes. And Matt McCarty basically did that for the entirety of the tournament. So big time coming out party for him. Super, super impressive. And I have a feeling this is just kind of the beginning, because as I said, it seems like he's got that it factor. The chain around his neck, the lefty swing. He's swaggy, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say that lefty swing, the most comparable thing to the lefty swing in golf is like, again, it's like Major League Baseball when the big burly left-handed batter walks into the box. It does not matter. It does not matter how talented or shitty that player is. When you see the lefty step in the box, you're just like, oh, this guy can hit it a fucking country mile. He's probably going to strike out on 3 pitches, but like the way they walk up, the confidence is like big swinging dick in the locker room. It's the same thing with a lefty. When the lefty's out there, it's just a beautiful thing. And that swing for him, it's crisp, it's clean, it's beautiful. And it was the same thing where, I mean, you were able to set it up for the perfect teaser. Matt McCarty has stones, right? Guess who we still can't confirm has stones? Ludwig.
Oh, throwing shades even when Ludwig's not in the field. No,
it's been my spiel for a while. I'm just saying the rookie went and got it done.
For sure. And golly, where was I going to? You threw me for a loop by throwing the Ludwig curveball in there.
You're welcome.
No, sorry. That's what I was going to say. No, I was having those same thoughts though, being like, Matt McCarty in 2 starts, like think about all of these guys who have just been grinding for year after year after year. And of course, I'm the loser who bets on them. I had Bo Hostler, who was couple shots back going into that final round. He's like +1 through 10. I'm like, God damn it, Bo. But like, damn, dude, that's what's even more impressive to me about the kids that can come on and win is like, there are good players. Bo Hostler, known as a really good player in college. Like, we've seen a lot of these guys come out and not be able to do it. And that's why, to me, it just, again, reiterates how special Matt McCarty is. And it's going to be fun to see him moving forward and this week in Las Vegas, baby.
Yeah, definitely. And this goes back to where you and I have been on this for basically almost a full calendar year now since we've been partners in this, that these new guys are coming up and they are just as competitive as what you see on the TV every single week. Even though they're playing on the minor league tours or in college, they come up and they're ready and they seize their moment. I mean, Jake Knapp did it last year. You and I were high on Knapp immediately. He wins by like the 4th or 5th fucking event of the year. McCarty, this is his second PGA start after Battlefield promotion, goes out and gets it.
These kids are good, baby.
I'm sorry, you need to just buy in to like someone like Matt McCarty is going to, moving forward, be someone you have to reckon with. The kid's got stones, the kid's got the talent. And guess what? The worst case scenario for the rest of the PGA Tour is he officially confirmed it this week that he can hang and he can play.
For sure. And what's crazy too is, there's just going to be another one and another one and another one because the Korn Ferry Tour, college golf, as you mentioned, like all levels are getting so much better. And this next generation is just on the ascend and trajecting the game further than, or faster than anyone can even kind of wrap their mind around. It's incredible, man. We're really in a treat in terms of talent coming up to the PGA Tour in these next handful of years.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already talked about it with Uncle Tweeth in the past that when PGA Tour U put out their top 25, they just posted a quick clip of the top 25 in their swings. And I think me and Tweeth ended up exchanging like texts for 45 minutes, be like, but did you see number 8? Did you look at number 14? This swing, everything is so crisp, clean that we're just looking like all 25 of these guys could fucking win on tour next year. Yeah. They're obviously all not going to get their opportunity, but you look at it. I mean, shout out one of my best friends from college. Her little brother was playing in the Illinois State Finals the other day was playing in Illinois State Finals. Dude shot a 6 over 78. Guess where that got him?
Guessing not in like the top 20?
T6.
Oh, T6? I completely read that wrong.
Yeah. No, they had a fucking sophomore took the state by shooting 1 over.
That's incredible. The way that you were saying it, though, I thought there were going to be more. But even still, I mean, at that age, to be shooting that score, and there's that many people better.
Yeah, Robbie shot went and shot around a 78, 6 over. 6 over was good enough for actually solo 6. Shout out Robbie, solo 6. But the fucking winner was like a sophomore in high school at 1 over.
Damn. 1 over. A sophomore in high school, dude. I don't think I've been 1 over through 2 in my entire life.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a minuscule pool of players.
Right.
That's the Illinois State Section 3 finals out of the 9 or 10 that are available. Yeah, the level 3 guy shot 1 over to win state.
Incredible the talent that's coming up. One little thing I do want to be sure to mention about
and for the record, that was at Cantini.
Oh, Cantini,
which is an incredible fucking course.
Absolutely well respected. One final thing I wanted to bring up about Matt McCarty before we kind of move on here is I thought it was really cool. This was something that I wasn't aware of until I had seen the clips that the PGA Tour had posted. But Matt McCarty, this time 1 year ago, when he was trying to secure his PGA Tour card for the first time, was in very good position to do so. I believe it was at the Korn Ferry Championship, but through 53 holes, he was in the lead of that tournament. And going to the final hole on Saturday, which is a par 4, He hit it into the water twice, wound up making a quadruple bogey 8, and then was never able to get it back and wound up not earning his PGA Tour card. So you can imagine, I mean, it's literally life or death out there for these guys trying to get to that next step, and for basically one hole to ruin everything that he had gone through throughout that entire season. You can only imagine the devastation that he went through and the emotion and everything. And for him to respond the way that he did this year with 3 wins, gets the Battlefield promotion, and in his second PGA Tour start, wins on the big leagues. Golf is just the wildest, craziest game. That's the only thing I could think in my head when I saw that, is just like, if you would have told Matt McCarty a year from now, you're going to be on the PGA Tour and you're already going to be a winner, he wouldn't have even believed you. He was probably sunken so low with how tough that brutal defeat was. But it happens to everyone, whether you're at the top or somewhere at the bottom trying to get better. You're going to have those moments that make you hate the game, make you question why you're doing it, but you're never as far removed from that next great shot or finding that next thing that makes it click as much as it seems. And I just thought that was a really cool story I wanted to share about perseverance, and that, you know, while things may seem far away, they're never as far away as they seem. So huge shout out to Matt McCarty for battling back and doing it in a bigger way, probably a way that he couldn't have even envisioned here in the year 2024. Really cool story, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, if you rewind a year and then fast forward a year, you're going with Matt McCarty barely missing a card, right? To a year later, Matt McCarty, PGA Tour winner.
Insane. And who knows where it's going to be a year from now. It's going to be a fun conversation.
And again, that's just going to set me up for another one of my shots. I apologize that I've been off the show for a couple weeks, so I need to come back hot and heavy.
Fully loaded.
That's Matt McCarty has a confirmed PGA Tour victory. Cameron Young still does not.
Oh, I'm all aboard that one. All aboard that one, baby. Does Cameron Young get his first win this year, Ross?
Absolutely not.
He'd never forget. He let the guy with the bucket hat and the yellow ball beat him. MIZ forever, baby. Pete Malnati by 1 million.
Which you just ended up bringing that up perfectly. Did you see Peter Uihlein or Pete Malnati this weekend with his whole escapade? Because I laughed my ass off that they had to bleep out the comment where he puts 2 in the water, then he goes and dunks the last one to basically par the hole, and then as he pulls it out of the hole, he walks by and the camera catches him going, "I fucking hate golf."
Literally, dude, that clip was buddy, just the epitome of golf. Such a stupid game. That clip was absolutely money. Shout out to Peter Malnati. Yes. Always keeping it light, always having a good time through thick or thin. But yeah, that was one of the funnier moments that I'm very glad that they caught on camera. But before we move on to the Shriners Children's Open here this week, Ross, I did mention I want to give my flowers to Black Desert Resort and the inaugural Black Desert Championship, because when I wrote up my preview last week, going through all the research that I did and kind of the information that the PGA Tour gave out about the course, obviously with us never seeing it, it's hard to know what to expect. I was seeing a lot of 50, 60, 70-yard wide landing areas, and I was like, well, this black lava is really cool, but like, are these guys actually ever going to hit it here? And they did. It actually it was really wide, but a lot of tee shots weren't the ones that were finding the lava. It was the approach shots, and on par fives, kind of the risk-reward type of holes. I thought there was a really good structure in terms of how they went about the golf course, and to see, I thought the place was going to get completely obliterated. Matt McCarty, the winning score at -23, only he and Steven Yeager eclipsed -20 under. I thought the winning score was going to be like 25 or 26, and these guys were going to be having their way with it. Like, T8 was -16, so this place actually held up against the PGA Tour pros better than I thought it would. The wind got up there in the afternoon that kind of gave some guys some fits. So I was really pleasantly surprised, and I know they're signed on to bring this tournament back for at least the next 4 years, I believe. And when kind of running through it last week before the tournament got underway, I did not think that I was going to be this positive about the feedback from the tournament, Ross. I really like the views. I really like the sight lines, and golf course playing more challenging than I thought. It's a thumbs up for me.
Absolutely agree. And, I guess good for Utah up and coming. Got yourself a hockey team, got yourself a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
And in Southwest Utah too, like a really pretty area, not all that far from Las Vegas as well, only about 120 miles. So yeah, good time to be a Utahan. Maybe not a good time to be Tony Finau. That's a conversation for another day. But this week, PGA Tour rolls into Las Vegas for the Shriners Children's Open. It's always my favorite event of the fall. And I said 2 years ago, Ross, before you were even knowing what the On Tap Sportsnet was, I told Joey Ricotta when we did our best bet show that if Tom Kim wins the Shriners Open, I'm going to Las Vegas next year, baby. And what did he do? He won the damn thing. And then won the thing the next year. And stupid me didn't end up having money on him. Plan to have boots on the ground this weekend, Ross. A little bit of a hiccup in the travel plans right now that I'm trying to kind of get through, but I do have credentials. I'm planning to be there Saturday and Sunday, keeping my fingers crossed on that matter. But it's a lovely, lovely course right out in the Las Vegas suburbs, only about 20 minutes from the Vegas Strip, and it is beautiful and just a nice place to honestly go and have like a peaceful afternoon. The golf course, the front nine is kind of accoutramented to the fans in good viewing areas. And then the back nine holes is kind of like its own thing. You can kind of go get lost out there, but it's a really beautiful property. Par 71, 7,200 yards, another course that plays at altitude, so it's going to be shorter than its listed distance. And it's another one that they usually light up here. Each of the last 5 winners have reached at least 20 under par. So birdies are going to be the name of the game here this week. You're really just trying to keep it in the fairway. It is much tighter than we saw last week in Utah. So being a good driver of the golf ball is important, but you're going to be hitting a lot of wedges, take advantage of the short par 4s, make birdies on the par 5s. And that's kind of the recipe here at TPC Summerlin. Good weather. It's hot. The ball travels really far. So guys get some extra distance and some extra rollout. But yeah, a lovely course. Usually draws out the best field of the fall swing. Maybe not as strong as it was last year, but pretty decent considering the time of the year. Tom Kim is obviously back looking for the three-peat, trying to become the first player on the PGA Tour to win an event 3 consecutive years since Steve Stricker did it at the John Deere Classic in my neck of the woods here a little bit in Illinois. Davis Thompson's here. Eric Cole's back. Bo Hostler, who I mentioned earlier, Keith Mitchell, Steven Yeager. Those are kind of the big names. Ricky Fowler, actually, that's kind of when you know things are down bad for old Big Dick Rick is when he's having to play in the FedEx Cup fall. But Ricky Fowler's here this week. So excited to see this tournament get underway tomorrow. Ross, I know you got a couple of picks here for me. I believe this is the first event of the fall swing that we have a show here and that we're making picks together. So hopefully we can go 1 for 1 and get things started on the right foot.
I would like to, because Scotty Scheffler stole so much fucking money last year.
I didn't even think about that today.
That just let's make some money in the fall, and it can be off that way. It offsets when Scotty steals it again next year.
You got to capitalize when Scotty's not in the field, Ross. You got to capitalize.
Which is why I have 5 picks this week. I went $5 a piece. I went with a responsible amount of money for us and our fans that I think people could manage to throw this amount of money down every week. I'm just going to kick it off and say, after the President's Cup and everything, he's all fiery. He knows this bitch is his. I think Tom Kim, you have to put something on him. I think it comes down to the confidence, and he knows he owns this event right now.
Yeah, I don't hate it, and I'm thinking about it for sure because I didn't bet him last year. Went and watched all 4 rounds and watched Tom Kim light it up, and thinking about how I had money on him the year before there. really made it hurt extra painfully. So I'm definitely thinking about Tom Kim. Last time he carried some momentum over from the President's Cup is when he won this as well. So we've seen him go from President's Cup to the win. However, last year he was playing on the DP World Tour a little bit more frequently and at least had some more events to kind of get in form. But when we talk about courses, it's 7,255 is what it's listed at, but probably plays like 7,000 maybe. And courses that are 7,000, 7,100 yards, those are Tom Kim's jams. That's why I took him at the Travelers. He's won this event twice. He won the Wyndham. These are the courses where Tom Kim does his best. And he doesn't have to go up against Scotty Scheffler. He doesn't have to go up against Xander Schauffele, the big names on the PGA Tour. There's a 14-1 still out there on Tom Kim. I think that is a more than fair number. My card is actually not complete as of right now, Ross, because I'm still considering what to do with Tom Kim, because if I do wind up there and I watch this guy win again and I don't have money on him, I don't know if I'm going to make it back home.
I would just like to inform that as of literally 59 minutes ago is when I officially placed my Tom Kim. And I did get Tom Kim at 14.
Love that. Oh, and it's down to 12 now on DK?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now here on the old odds checker grid, which I always recommend everyone to use if you're betting on golf, or quite honestly, just betting on anything. You want the best odds out there, right? Definitely go and check out odds checker, particularly golf though, because there are so many sports books and the lines can be so different. Ross, one thing I also want to point out, I don't know if we've ever kind of established this to the listener, but I really like how we kind of go about our bets. Like, you're kind of throwing $5 down on a couple of different guys that are just trying to get you to win this week, where I'm more like long-term thinking about ROI. I think about the numbers a little bit more. I think it can relate well to our listeners because I'm sure we get handfuls of both. So I think that's a really cool way that we've gone about things here. And I certainly think in terms of the way you're going about it, it makes sense considering these are the bigger names in this field. And quite honestly, those are the guys that usually come through and win in the fall when they are in the field, right? Like, I just think back to bets I've won in the fall, Ross. Tom Kim at the Shriners, Keegan Bradley at the Zozo, Tony Finau at the Houston Open back when it was in the fall, right? Like, those are all three capable players. So I certainly understand the method this weekend. That's why I'm thinking about Tom Kim myself.
Yeah, I try to keep it simple because anyone that's followed along with us knows I bought a house, I got a kid, we're planning wedding stuff and all this stuff out here where, hey, I'm throwing $5 on Tom Kim. It's gonna net you 75 if it hits.
Ross is the responsible adult of this podcast. Yeah, yes, 100%.
Yes. And that's where we're going to move to my second pick, where I also hit Taylor Pendrith coming off the President's Cup. I got it 22, $5, 115, boys. It's out there.
I certainly get it. I'm not as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as like strung towards Pendrith as I am for Tom Kim here. I do, albeit think it's a fair number, and approach putting. It's what Taylor Pendrith does and can also hit the ball well off of the tee. So I certainly don't hate that pick. And as you mentioned, coming off of the President's Cup, has had some reps here in recent weeks. You got anyone else here at the top? Davis Thompson, 30, Kurt Kitayama, 30, Seamus Power, 30, and then we'll go Bo Hostler, 33, Cole, 35, Mitchell and Yeager, 35 as well. You got any more from the top here, Ross?
So I did get Bo Hostler. I got him a little bit lower because he did change at the last minute for me. I do have Bo Hostler. That Bo's playing really well, man.
Oh, you don't got to tell me. And the reason I was on Bo last week is because he actually, of anyone that was in the field last week, he had the average finishing position among all players on courses that feature altitude. And he's got a couple high-end finishes here at TPC Summerlin, which is a course I used as a comp to Black Desert Resort. I understand it with Bo. I just worry about the finish, man. Can he get across the finish line, Ross?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, $5 for 155. I'm going to ride with it, and we're going to have a little fun.
I'm going to have a tough thought about that tonight, aren't I?
Yep.
Do I go back to Bo or not? Who else you got here?
So we're going to move a little further down. Had a tough year last year. and then late seemed to find something, go on a little bit of a run, and unfortunately just became a victim of the FedEx Cup, where it doesn't matter how good you play. If you don't play great, you don't move on. Eric Cole. I have Eric Cole at 35.
Yeah,
Um,
I like it.
Going into the fall, the couple fall events he's played, the first one seemed a little bit like a struggle. The second one, a nice bounce back, seeming like he found that late season form again after the long layoff. And then just, hey man, the champion of the mini tours. This guy's out there playing the Greater North Orlando Honda Open.
This guy's a grinder, baby. He plays every single week because he said he relishes the fact that he gets to play on the PGA Tour. He's like, why would I not play every single week? The three names I was thinking about at the top of this betting board, Ross: Tom Kim, obviously at 14, I mentioned. Beau Hossler, thinking about going back. Eric Cole was the other one, and he's the only one that I've bet so far, 40-1. As I mentioned earlier, I watched him at the Shriners last year, and he wound up finishing T3. He had an awesome final round to give himself a little bit of a chance, but this feels like a really good Eric Cole spot. Lots of wedges, hit it in the fairway, get hot with the putter, rack up birdies, right? That's what Eric Cole does. And you referenced, had a nice outing the last time he played at the Sanderson Farms Championship, T16, but he gained 10.5 strokes with his irons. Just couldn't make a putt. He lost over 4 strokes with the putter. Eric Cole, outside of that terrible run he had midway through this year, is one of the better putters on the PGA Tour. So I really believe he has a good chance of bouncing back in that category. He's gained with his irons in 5 of the last 6. You mentioned, too, had a really good close to the PGA Tour campaign, and what we've seen so far, albeit in a somewhat smallish sample size out of Eric Cole, but since he's been on the PGA Tour, when he plays good, he usually keeps playing good. So, yeah, many different reasons. I'm all aboard the Eric Cole train this week at 40-1, baby.
And from there, we're going to move on to my lone long shot that this felt disrespectful and an unbelievable number. We talk about Luke Clanton. We talk about people like Matt McCarty, all these people coming up and being young professionals and being successful. There's a forgotten man out there that happened to go out and win the Monday qualifier this week to get into the field that equally is up there with those players. And that is the fact that they have Neil Shipley out there at 90-1.
They did
Of course I put $5 on it to win over 450 because this feels like the kind of event that Neil Shipley could 100% show up and break through in.
The big boat. Neil Ship, 90-1. Don't hate it whatsoever. You want to bet on talent? This is the time to do it in a field like this. Definitely don't hate it whatsoever. And would it surprise anyone if Neil Shipley went out and won? Okay, maybe people would be like, damn, wouldn't expect him to win like that fast. But from what we've seen, the kid's got game, right? And he's below a lot of guys.
He's hung around in bigger events. He's hung around in bigger events than this. It's the fact that he plays PGA Tour of the Americas and needs to earn exemptions and earn his way into these fields. That's why we don't see him as often. He ran out of sponsorship exemptions. They put him in a couple big events following the Masters from all the attention he got. And he basically played as a top 10 player in all those tournaments. This is just, he's been off the radar for a bit because the exemptions ran out. He had to earn his way into a field. Guess what? He didn't just earn his way in the field. He went out and fucking won the qualifier outright.
You might have won me on Neil Shipley here at 90-1. I might have to do it out of principle because, listen, there are some guys here that are in the same betting range or have even lower numbers than Neil Shipley, and it's frankly offensive. Webb Simpson, 80-1, Neil Shipley, 90-1. What? Charlie Hoffman. I know he plays out of here, but Chuck Hoffman, 80-1 over Neil Shipley? Come on now.
No.
Come on. Ben Silverman, 75-1. Come on. I'm taking Neil Shipley every day.
I'm going with the track record. The fact that in in the bigger tournaments with the exemptions, he showed up, he played, and he basically played top 10, top 15 golf in all those, and those were stacked, loaded events, and he still gave that type of performance. I think the 90-1 this week is disrespectful, and I think that's 100% something that you need to hit on.
I really like it. I might need to tail you on that one. That was your final pick, you said? That's where you close out.
That is my
card?
final. That is my 5 for 25 for this week. Let's
get it, baby. Let's get it, baby. Wishing you luck. I am tailing you with Eric Cole. The other bet that I have officially made, Johnny Vegas 50-1. He has gained strokes with the putter in back-to-back starts. And listen, that is astounding for Johnny Vegas. Joey Ricotta had been chasing a Johnny Vegas win for probably 2.5 years since we've been doing the show, and he finally got it in Minnesota. And I remember recording that preview before things got underway at TPC Twin Cities, and he said if Johnny Vegas could just putt, he's going to win this thing. And Johnny Vegas has been starting to putt a little bit ever since then. The irons have remained good. Trust him to hit a lot of fairways here, which isn't the most difficult thing in the world. And he's someone who, when in contention, I actually do trust to win, is a proven winner. And 45-1, I thought was just too good of a number. So Eric Cole, Johnny Vegas, those are two that are officially in for me. I'm still swimming around Tom Kim. That's really the last question I have to answer, is whether I'm going to go to Tom Kim, and my card kind of stops there, except for maybe Neil Shipley, or if I'm going to spread things out in this like 40-70 range. If I do go that route, the players I'm looking at, Harry Hall, 40-1. I was on him last week in Utah. Plays out of this course, said so himself that he knows like every crevice of this place, and has been playing really well since he won for the first time at the ISCO Championship. So thinking about him. Ross, thinking about your boy Adam Hadwin, 45-1, who has some of the best course history among anyone at TPC Summerlin. JT Poston, 45-1. I tailed him last year. He also came so close and made a disastrous 8 on the par 5 16th on Saturday that kind of ruined his chances. Those are really the guys from that range that I'm thinking about the most. Further down a little bit, just to shout some guys out, Austin Eckroat, 70-1, I feel like is a really good number for a player of his caliber. But other than that, I was really thinking maybe going back to Ben Coles, because I was on him last week as well. Just didn't have his best stuff on Saturday. That kind of took him out of it. So that's kind of where I was thinking. Maybe Matthew Neesmith, 120-1, but really don't envision myself going too deep. Pearson Coody, 200-1, I think is a really fair number. But yeah, mostly going to be inside 80-1 for me, Ross, even though you're kind of a little bit more at the top than I am. I think we kind of have the same mentality here. We expect someone who at least has a little bit of a proven track record, or is a higher tier player in our minds, is going to come away with this event. It's kind of been that way since it's become the staple of the FedEx Cup fall. So yeah, excited for things to get underway this week in Las Vegas. Ross, you got any final thoughts? Did we miss anything before we kind of tie a bow on things here?
I was going to admit that you called it. He is my guy. I love him. I do love him. Adam Hadwin was on my card until I did Takesman last night, and Uncle Tweeth picked Adam Hadwin, and I was like, oh, absolutely fucking not. Then we just can't do that.
Oh, no.
We both just can't be on that page.
Not gonna end well.
Yeah, so Adam got bumped off the card, but Adam was on the card initially, and that's where I switched out and went more like the Neil Shipley route. Because then I looked at that when I saw Neil Shipley's number, I was like, that's just disrespectful.
Yeah,
and exactly like you pointed out, the players, Webb Simpson's a fucking 80. Are you kidding me?
He's slapping Neil Shipley in the face. And you know he's going to be fired up after getting in on that Monday qualifier, the 6-for-1, being the only one to birdie that final hole. Fair and square, going and earning his opportunities, even though, as we've kind of alluded to, he probably is more than talented to be out here. It's just the restrictions of getting these young kids onto the PGA Tour is the real challenge of it all. But prime opportunity for our boy Neil Shipley this week. I would love nothing more than to be in the press room at TPC Summerlin and to just get from Neil Shipley. That would make my entire life, Ross.
100%.
Well, Thank you again to everyone for tuning into another episode of Golf on Tap. Good to be back here as the PGA Tour is in the midst of its FedEx Cup fall. They got one more event next week in Japan. It's the Zozo Championship, actually, before taking a week off and then closing things out with 3 final events before the end of the calendar year. I'm sure we're going to be back covering it all here on Golf on Tap, so make sure to go and follow us for free wherever you may be listening to your podcasts. That way you can join us, even if you're not able to jump in with us live. Make sure to go and give Ross a follow as well on X at RossJohn22. You can find me at Jack Bushman to show some loves to the show's page at On Tap Golf. Whether or not I'm going to be there this weekend, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that I'm going to be. I will have you covered throughout the Shriners Children's Open, TPC Summerlin. It's an excellent event. It's as good as it's going to get here in the fall, baby. So cash some tickets with us this week. Everyone enjoy. Have a good rest of your day. Crack 'em, lock 'em, and we'll see you next time.